Hi there, this is Jacob Baugh, Jacob's Ladder with Team Cardhoarder. We're back for the wrap up after our five matches with this Lantern control deck with Grintless Crane in Modern. And I definitely like the way this deck felt. If I was a little bit more versed with the style of deck, I think I would have easily 4-1'd. I don't think I could have done any better than that. The Gen matchup was pretty rough. He just had enough hate to pretty much beat whatever I did. So I don't think I could have won that one, but I think I could have won my other match against Eldrazi for sure if I was more familiar with how this deck interacted and used my Shredder, but I was not. So we ended up with the 3-2, which is still a solid finish, better than most of my brews, so I'm going to give it to that. I definitely liked the Tezzeret for sure. It was a nice way to end the game quickly, especially on MTGO. That's something you need to be mindful of is your clock. That's why most people don't concede to you, is because they just want to time you out, because this deck takes a long time to actually kill your opponent, because it does have to normally mill your opponent out. So Tezzeret's nice. It's certainly in Moto. I'm not sure if it's necessary in real life, but it's for sure interesting. If you're playing the blue, I think it's worth the 1-of slot, because you can mill it over and rebuy it with Shredder and then end the game on the spot the next turn. So definitely has some merit. Adventurous Fair was pretty sweet. The life gain definitely bought me multiple turns and matchups where I normally wouldn't have had those turns. I would have just been dead without the life gain multiple times. I lived at 1 and 2 life repeatedly because of it. I did miss on the draw steps, but it still gave me the additional turn to find the stuff a few times, but it's certainly great. Potentially either version should be playing this card as a 1-of at least, just because it's just a very nice effect on your land. I definitely get behind that one, but that's for sure. And Crane was pretty good. It did miss more than I would like, but actually having a 1/3 blocker turned out to be pretty good against Noble Hierarch and that kind of effect, where you normally could just lose the game just because they draw 1 or 2 nobles and you just like get clocked by that faster than you can mill them. And it's definitely an added bonus to this card. But the sideboard, I wasn't for sure about this ley line. I ended up not bringing it at all. I'm not sure what it's actually for. Potentially could be a different sideboard card altogether. There's probably a matchup I'm forgetting about why you want this. It's probably just for burn explicitly, but I think like you could just be more sun droplets and just be fine with that, and not, because like you're not going to really realistically cast this card. It does cost 2 white, and having a 1-of in your opening hand is very unlikely. So I don't really see why that's there. All the other cards seem great. Cage just got bordered against decks that I would normally not think I would want Cage. But after thinking about Ancient Grudge being the only card that mattered in the matchup, I actually brought in a lot more than I thought I was going to. So maybe could potentially play another one of those. Welding Jar was fantastic. Sun Droplet was great as well, like I said. Additional Pithing Needles and Spell Skies certainly have their place in this deck as well. The Crumble is another, just as a 1-of, it's great. I probably wouldn't play any more than that, because if you ever need a second one for some reason in a matchup, you can always Shredder it back if you have to. But and the additional decays are definitely necessary. You want access to all 4 of those pretty much at all times in your 75, so I wouldn't change those at all. But everything else seemed pretty great. Seemed like a traditional Lantern deck. Didn't really play that much different. Had a few times where I didn't have blue mana for Crane, but other than that, it was pretty great. And having blue mana for Spellskite made this card so much better than normal. The additional blue sources having 4 more. So normally you always had Glimmer Void and Mox Opals, but that was normally 1 or 2 activations at most. You could potentially get 3, even 4 pretty easily with this mana base, with having 12 instead. So it was pretty nice being able to activate it multiple times. So that's definitely something to consider when playing this deck over the other. But that's about all I have for you. I would recommend this deck. It's pretty sweet if you're into the Lantern style. I would definitely give it a try and see what your opinions on it are. But see you next week.